So, is this cold really mine? Welcome to Tools to Create a Better Life with myself, Glenyce Hughes. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so incredibly grateful for each and every one of you. So, if you're watching this on video, I am in a swimming pool. I'll be honest though, it's cold. I know I always talked about cold pools. I loved my pool cold. Maybe it's been a while since I've been in one. I'm not sure, but this one is really cold. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to hang out in here. Plus, it is very nice out here. I am in Sandy Hill, Georgia, which is, I would say, maybe a suburb of Atlanta, but very close to Atlanta, Georgia. I have never been to Georgia before. It's beautiful. Oh my gosh. We've got two sweet little puppies here and a kitty. And the kitty has a GPS tracker, so it's so cool to be able to see exactly where he is when he's out gallivanting. So, is this cold really mine? I have had a cold this past week, and as you may know, the last few weeks I've been talking about different tools that I've shared over the years that I'm maybe looking at a little bit differently now. And I wouldn't say that this isn't new for me to look at this tool differently. This is something that I've always been aware of, I would say, with this tool. And so the concept is that we are aware of the things that are going on within our body, and they're possibly not ours, meaning we're taking them on where maybe I was aware of somebody else's cold and I took it on. And I'm not saying that that's not possible. So the reason that I'm sharing maybe the way that I see things now differently than I used to or have talked about in the past is really for you to look at these things for yourself. So this is not about saying my way is the right way and the other way is the wrong way. That is not what this is about at all. This is just an invitation to go into what you may know to be true for you, or to look at things that maybe you never considered before. So this tool you can use in lots of different ways, of course. So physical stuff, yes. And also like mental and emotional stuff. And I would say for myself personally, with, let's say I'm angry for no reason, I just wake up cranky or something like that, then the tool of like, who does this belong to? Return to sender with consciousness, absolutely, that is a great tool for me in those situations. But for physical things, I just haven't had the same, I'm going to say, success with that. I find, and especially in the years of facilitating people and working with people, a lot of times there's more to it. And so we maybe really simplify this oversimplification that I've talked about before. We oversimplify it. So we go, okay, well, I woke up with a cold. I'm just going to return to sender with consciousness and be done with it. And then when it doesn't go away, that's when the problem starts, because then we're judging ourselves for the wrongness of us. How did I do that wrong? How did I say it wrong? Am I not actually returning it to sender properly? Go into all this insanity instead of just recognizing that possibly, yeah, maybe you were aware of it and maybe you did take it on. And maybe there is something more with the changing of it. Maybe there's other action that's required. Maybe your body, in my case, maybe my body was just saying, hey, can we just have a little rest, please? And with other things, like I've seen people with, say, extra weight, as I've talked about over the years with myself, just to oversimplify by saying I shall return it to sender with consciousness and it will go away, hasn't been my experience. It really hasn't. Oh, there's so many leaves falling. I'm not sure if you guys can see any of them. There's many in the pool with me now. And so this idea that that's it is what can really trip us up, because then we, again, as I said, we go into the wrongness. We try to figure out how we need to say it the right way so it works, and just all of this insanity. Instead of just recognizing that, yeah, okay, if that tool, if you're like, okay, you know what, I know that I've picked up somebody else's cold, or I've picked up somebody else's cranky, or whatever it is, then, okay, so what's actually required to change it? Now, a cold might be a little bit different than cranky. Cranky, you can shift possibly fairly quickly. Doesn't mean you always can, but possibly. A cold may not be. I have never experienced one person that I've ever seen use this tool be able to shift a physical thing like cold or flu or diabetes or cancer or heart problems or anything like that in an instant. Now, I don't want to say that that's not possible, because I live in the world of, true possibilities, and it often isn't the way that it shows up. There may be something else. And I've worked with a lot of people with terminal illnesses, and maybe terminal is not the right word. Potentially terminal, let's say. And those people often have an awareness of, wow, you know what, when I wasn't sick, there was all of this, maybe significance put on my work or my kids or whatever, and by getting sick, then they had more information and they started looking at their life differently, and they shifted things and changed things, and so they received more from that illness in a way that wasn't necessarily about returning it to sender. So again, I just really want to get us, I guess that would be my ask for all of us, is to really step away from the oversimplification. If you've watched my past few videos, I believe that's probably the word that I've used more than any other word, is this idea of oversimplification with it all. So if you've had something physical or maybe even mental or emotional that didn't shift with that, and you've spent time in the judgment of you because it didn't shift, what you might want to look at, as I throw the leaves around, is what actions required to change that thing. And it possibly isn't just one action. There's possibly many actions for you to take to really start and shift and change it. And so for myself with the cold, it wasn't so much of, how can I make it go away? Well, in a way, I guess it was how can I make the symptoms go away? Because I had some fun things planned this week in Chicago. As some of you might know, I was at a mastermind for Shopify this week, and I didn't want to be offensive to other people with, sneezing and snotting all over, that sort of thing. But also I wanted to be able to be present with all the fun activities we had with that. So that's what I looked at, what was required to shift the symptoms that would have created more of a distraction, let's say. And so for me, that was just, over-the-counter medication. It was quite simple with regards to that. So that was an action that I took, and I took it, a few times a day. And of course I got, as much rest as I could in between, and the water, like all the other pieces to it, of course. So for me with the cold, fairly simple. Took some over-the-counter medication. With other things, there are other possibilities with that. So if you've got whatever it is, maybe diabetes or heart disease or depression or those sorts of things, the other actions, of course, is medical. And I know often we have this idea that medical is wrong and not medical is right. And what if we don't? Now, some of you know my background is psychiatric nursing. So I took a couple of years training, and I see how the two go together. Now, I would never want to do 100% medical. If I got colds all the time, then yeah, I would maybe look at that a little bit more. But with a one-off cold, that's I think the first one since a year ago, I'm just going to take some over-the-counter medication and carry on with life. But with other things, it's really just getting that energy of what else is required to change it. And looking at what I would call the logical and the woo, a mix of logic and woo. So if you've got heart things going on, then, if it was me, then I would definitely be working with doctors who know that specialty. And then also, what else? Maybe your body loves acupuncture, or you love going to reflexology, or different things like that. Then mixing the two together from that place of what is it going to take to change this? What is actually required? Now, yes, recognizing that we can absolutely, at least this is my take on it, we absolutely are aware of other people's stuff. We absolutely can take on their pain and suffering and mental, emotional, all of that. And to change it, it may be more required. Let's not oversimplify anymore. Let's look at what's actually required to change it so that you can be taking action. And in my experience, anytime we're taking action to change something, that's where the magic is. It's when we're not taking the action to change it. That's where we have so much more room for the judgment, the wrongness, the doubt, all of that insanity. So sessions are still on sale, guys. You've still got my shop to go check out. Links are below. If you don't see them below, then just reach out and I'll get them for you. Have a great week. I look forward to chatting again next week.